Welcome back, YouTubers, to another ROH Wrestling TV show review of us, what we called again, NJ?
The British Fist.
And what do we do to start the videos?
Gotcha!
We're well in tandem there, aren't we? Subscribe above, guys, like this video, and get your comments on this TV show, this ROH TV show, down in the comment section below. I am Mr. Parkin, of course, not sporting a Washington Wizards jersey. Instead, I'm sporting an England hat today, because I don't think ROH deserves the Michael Jordan shirt in this video, to be honest, but you, my friend, are the one and only NJ.
What's up?
Indeed, you'll hear our opinions on ROH pretty much coming up now, won't we, NJ?
We will.
Yes, indeed. So, we will welcome to this show with Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness talking about that tag match main event at the 10th anniversary, so which we're really not that looking forward to. The whole David Richards and Eddie Edwards thing all coming again.
Trying to hype up in the opener didn't really do much for the match itself, and I'll just wait for the rest of the show because this was good because obviously they're announcing what we're getting, but it just wasn't a match we're looking forward to.
No, I mean, just from a booking standpoint, there's no heat, and you'll find out later on there really is no heat in this feud, so we're not really that interested in it. They talk about we're going to be getting the Young Bucks versus the World's Greatest Tag Team in our main event, but because Shelton was suspended, we're not going to be getting that. So Charlie Haas comes out and suggests a new main event, so that it would be him against Mark Briscoe, with Jay Briscoe pretty much handcuffed in the corner. Well, at least we got a main event out of this, and I thought Charlie Haas was pretty good on the mic. I prefer Charlie Haas over Shelton Benjamin in a mic role in the World's Greatest Tag Team.
When it comes to Charlie Haas on mic, he's actually more aggressive, gets his point out there, makes a statement. So I'm thinking with this, I'm liking the fact they're still getting involved with the Briscoes, having the involvement, showing there's a feud and something going on there, and we got a main event out of the opener, so it did its job. Yeah, I mean, I think the only issue I have with this is, well, it set up a main event. It was a pretty good opening promo. We barely ever open ROH with a promo segment, so this was something different. It's just the fact that Briscoes have a match with the Young Bucks in 2 weeks' time at the 10th anniversary show on Sunday, March the 4th, and we still haven't seen any interaction between the two, and it just seemed like the ROH are concentrating more on a World's Greatest Tag Team and Briscoes rematch, possibly at Showdown in the Sun, and you just feel that some Young Bucks and Briscoes time is needed, and this is where you have the thing. They've continued storylines on very well, in my opinion, on these TV shows, and that is good, but this is what happens when you just concentrate on one story and you don't really have too much TV time to hype up another story. One of the bigger matches on the pay-per-view, the tag title match, is really getting looked over, isn't it? It's not really getting too much attention. But when it comes to this, we have the whole, we need to get tag teams more involved, and the Young Bucks not having their part in these shows is really making us not look forward to the match as much as we should, and not really giving the Young Bucks the TV time that they need. Definitely
so, I totally agree with that. So they're doing a good job with continuing the storylines. They're featuring a lot of stuff on the TV show now. They're featuring specific storylines. It's just that other storylines seem to be taking a back seat, which is kind of a problem with only having an hour a week, really, isn't it? It's not really ROH's fault, but it's just what they have to go on now. But the show feels a lot better, in my opinion, just focusing on certain storylines every week, because we're getting a continuation rather than 2 week gap something, 2 week gap something, which kind of ruins the flow.
But saying that though, so far the opener has gave us a positive feeling for the show. So we've got things announced, we've got a main event. It's going well so far.
Kevin Steen versus Andy Right Leg Ridge. Why is he called Right Leg Ridge? I really don't know. We have Steve Corino on commentary. This was all about Kevin Steen's in-ring debut. We get that footage of Steen's antics from last week. I will say this though, NJ. It's amazing how much Kevin Steen helps this TV show, isn't it? Without him there, just really isn't the same, is it? Without his sort of character, his edgy character and antics that entertain us so much.
Even though there was like big names mentioned throughout the night, the fact that Kevin Steen had his part in this show, that's what we need to look out for. Kevin Steen's future, the fact that he's involved here, he's having a match, again, it does help from the follow-on of the opener.
I mean, he is the highlight of the show, essentially, isn't he, Kevin Steen, for us right now, anyway, as more mainstream fans of wrestling. You know, so this whole match is pretty much about Kevin Steen's in-ring debut. I do question why they let Andy Ridge get so much fucking offense in, but at the end of the day, Steen powerbombs him on the side of the ring, gets his F5 finisher in, which is, of course, is his new finisher, and he wins his first match, which is essentially a squash, just designed to get Kevin Steen over. That's pretty much what it was.
That's the way I look at it. Obviously, Kevin Steen needed this win to obviously get him back into the game, and he did it in a dominant way, so I'd say it's just what it needed.
And then, essentially after this, you had the post-match segment with Corino confronting Steen, and then Jimmy Jacobs, of all people, coming out to attack Kevin Steen from behind. And we get all this chaos ensuing, which is pretty much what Kevin Steen brings with him every time he's on the TV screen. And we get the announcement later that it will be Steen versus Jacobs at the 10th anniversary show. A bit of a step down from Corino and Steen, but still could potentially be a good sort of, as long as they make it a hardcore match.
The way I see it, it's got Kevin Steen a match made. It's a match that makes sense. So I think it's going to follow on to obviously give him a match before he leads on to bigger and better things afterwards.
Yes. And you say making sense. You know, Jacobs is the sort of understudy of Steve Corino, so he's closest friend. So it does make sense to have Jimmy Jacobs go to have Steen and Jacobs next. We then had a Richards and O'Reilly backstage segment, which for once was actually kind of semi-interesting. I must admit, I usually get bored by these guys, but they actually semi-interested me this week, which is weird.
Yeah, it was an okay. They actually had their time to give their say, so I just thought having them there was somewhat interesting. Yes.
Mondo and Tavern kind of put together a tag team at the last minute. They were essentially going to be a jobber tag team, weren't they, for Edwards and Adam Cole. This whole segment was focusing on Edwards and Cole, as this is their first match as a tag team going into that 10th anniversary main event match. So really, this was all about getting Cole and Edwards over as a tag team. But for me, I can't help but feel that the person who stood out most from this match was Mike Mondo. How much did he stand out in this match? Did he stand out in the match to you?
Well, with this match, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, it's got biggish names, Cole and Edwards, but the match, I didn't really find it entertaining. Not really the most exciting of matches, a match I don't really care about. But again, it was a match that had good time for what it was, but it just didn't really do anything for me.
I think my main problem with this match is Edwards and Cole are supposed to be the heels in this whole thing, but they're not getting any heel heat, and they're not really trying. It's almost as if you're going to have two face teams go at each other at the 10th anniversary show, and that just doesn't draw any heat, and that is why ROH won't draw shit at the ROH 10th anniversary show, because they're essentially having a feud which has got no heat in it. Because, well, let's face it, David Richards and Kyle O'Reilly will go out there and get the same reaction as Eddie Edwards and Adam Cole. Well, who the fuck is the heels then? Why weren't they trying to get some heel heat if they're supposed to be heels? That really affected my enjoyment of this match, the fact they weren't doing the heel tactics. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to get them over as a heel tag team to go against a face tag team in Team Ambition or whatever they want to call themselves.
Well, the way to get them heel heat, because at the end, Cole gets the pin over Mondo, I think. And the thing is, they could, instead of getting a clean win, they could have had a cheat way to win, beat on the ropes, low blow in the rest of the distracted, so to add on to the ending before they actually get the win. But again, this match, like I said, overall just didn't do it for me.
Cornette would never have that in this MMA style promotion now. But like I said, Cole gets the pin. He hasn't been on TV very much, so for him to get the pin is understandable over an Eddie Edwards. And after the match, we get Mike Mondo attacking Tavern. So at least I can come out of the segment saying at least Mike Mondo got some kind of a push, because that guy stands out so much for an ROH to me.
And even though we speak about giving the heel heat in this, it looks like that Mondo is getting the heel heat, and you're giving the heat to the wrong tag team in this. But overall, it, like I said, just a match that got a good time, and a match that filled up the card a bit.
And what a surprise that a nice, well-done character, something different in ROH, Mike Mondo is able to draw some heat. Eddie Edwards and Adam Cole, learn how to draw some heel heat, because that's your job as heels. I'm just saying. Maybe they're not heels, I don't know. But we get to our traditional Inside ROH segment. The first thing, not the fact that it was too long or anything, but the first thing that got my thing a bit here was the fact that they're still talking about these stupid side bets. It's 2012. Side bets and money, and how many feuds are the Briscoes in at the moment? They've got like House of Truth, World's Greatest Tag Team, Young Bucks. Like, how many feuds can you have this tag team in?
Well, I guess we have the Briscoes, obviously the big tag team in ROH, and these other wrestlers wanting to be put over and have their chance. So I think Briscoes having all these feuds would be the right thing, because obviously whoever managed to have a match against Briscoes is going to be eventually put over.
And they're essentially a very entertaining tag team. So as much they can give as much TV time as the Briscoes as they can, the TV show will generally be a lot better, as well as guys like Kevin Steen and Mike Mondo, I'm just saying, and Mike Bennett as well, just another one. We get some words from the Bucks ahead of their tag title match. Why not have them in a TV? Why not have them in a segment like with the Briscoes, rather than having them in a segment with House of Truth last week?
They could have had like, yes, you could have had these two against some randomly paired tag team tonight, just sort of get them on TV, get them in a match.
They
But
need
sadly,
to get them on TV in ages.
instead they've had this segment inside ROH, so it really lets them down as a future tag team to go up against the Briscoes.
We're going to get Jay Lethal versus Tommaso Ciampa at the 10th anniversary show. I think this is another feud that has kind of suffered from the fact they're concentrating on specific feuds. It's a bit of a shame, really, because I do think this could be a good match and a good feud, especially with Tommaso Ciampa's undefeated streak and Jay Lethal's TV title. He's going to be going after David Richards' world title next week, which I feel will be a good match.
It should be, because obviously you've got two names that are inside ROH and going to have a match, so I think it would work out.
Yeah, and you've got the TV champion there going after the world champion. So
pretty good names.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's just a shame that the Tommaso Ciampa and Jay Lethal feud isn't getting any TV time. I understand you only have an hour ROH, but these just inside ROH segments just aren't good enough for a feud like this, just saying. Lance Storm is going to be fighting Mike Bennett at the 10th anniversary show. I look forward to seeing Lance Storm wrestle.
Well, with Mike Bennett obviously not having really a lot going for him, in my opinion, the fact they just having to give him a old big name, it'll give him some credit to him as a wrestler in ROH.
Yes, and I'm also hearing that TNA, ex-TNA, ex-Division guy, Amazing Red, will be involved in a tag team against the House of Truth with TJ Perkins as well. So it'll be good to see Amazing Red. That's all I can say about that. Main event of the evening, Charlie Haas versus Mark Briscoe with Jay Briscoe handcuffed at ringside. Before we go into this match, I just want to say some things. We didn't get much wrestling time tonight, but I didn't feel the flow of the show was hurt too much by that. I mean, usually I would say not enough wrestling, but all the focus on storylines and stuff, really, I didn't mind the matches being that short this weekend. I felt this match could have gone on a lot longer, personally.
Well, with some of the show, again, my interest weren't the greatest in this. I'm thinking if we had matches that obviously built up something, matches that were more interesting, in my opinion, it would have got better. But that's why I was looking forward to this main event, because they had it built up early in the night. They built up to this quite well, so I thought I'm looking forward to this main event.
And this is essentially a long-term feud, isn't it? Which will probably end at Showdown in the Sun, or maybe Best in the World. Who really knows what they're going to do? The bottom line is we have Mark Briscoe. I will say this, though. I wanted to see Jay Briscoe in the ring. I always thought Jay Briscoe was a better wrestler and a better character and a better crowd worker than Mark Briscoe, personally. I'd rather see him in the ring.
I guess that is the case, but obviously they want to give the other Briscoe a chance, something big going for him. So if we have a match against Charlie Haas in the main event, it was something special for him. And the match itself, I'm going to personally say, it was a good paced match. It got, again, similar to the other earlier match.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a match that I was enjoying how it went. So I thought it was different and good.
I mean, the Briscoes, you've got an entertaining tag team there who are over with the crowd. Heaven forbid, Charlie Haas can draw some heel heat, which is good, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the only feuds in ROH at the moment that can actually draw heel heat. Well done, Charlie Haas. Doing a very good job as a heel, I think, on ROH. And it's probably one of the best heels they have, in my opinion, just like Bully Ray in TNA.
Very true.
Like your match went about 5 minutes, 45 seconds, a decent length, I guess, but in ROH terms, it is quite short. I think that the whole focus on it, you had Mark Briscoe getting the roll-up pin on Charlie Haas, then you had Charlie Haas taking the key and beating on Mark Briscoe with the chair, which kind of accentuates their feud. I did like the finish to this match. You didn't have Charlie Haas looking too weak, but you had Charlie Haas with Jay Briscoe in the corner, handcuffed, beating on his brother, which I thought was a good little touch to the match.
Well, the fact that they gave Charlie Haas lost the match, yes, to the tag team, but it actually gave Charlie Haas the upper hand over the Briscoes, ready for whatever's going to come in the future. So I thought this was really nicely done finish.
And considering it was basically 1-on-2, then they did book this quite well, in my opinion. You had Charlie Haas getting on the mic afterwards saying, "The Briscoes are both dead! They're dead! And here's my fine, and here's the payment of my fine." I'm like, ooh, $10,000! Wow, they were acting like it was fucking year pay or something, weren't they?
This whole betting thing, again, especially after this, you had a good match and then you follow on with all this betting thing, and it really,
it was
in my
fine.
opinion, let down the match for me, because they could have done it before the match and just had the match finish with the attack. Something that I would have thought was better, but again, Charlie Haas and Mike, again, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get what they're doing with all this fine crap for. Just quit with the fine stuff. It's just amateur, I'll just say that right now. So, what I thought was a pretty good main event, but what are your overall thoughts on this show, NJ?
Again, I'm hoping better for ROH. This show, it had what I wanted to see in it. Kevin Steen, a good main event. But it's just, it didn't really do a lot for me, but it gave us hype for the future shows, pay-per-view, so I think it did its job in that aspect.
Yeah, I think that the TV show at the moment, they're focusing on a select number of feuds, which is good for those feuds, but really bad for the people that are going to be outside of those feuds, which is a little bit disappointing. I did think this TV show, despite the lack of wrestling we had a good concentration on storyline, which is what ROH needs to do. The show itself flowed pretty well, in my opinion. The whole promo segment at the beginning set up the main event. That was a good little addition to the show. I didn't have too many issues with this TV show. And it hyped up to some stuff, I guess. Like, not a huge amount, but it hyped up to some matches at the 10th anniversary show. We're going to get We're going to get some announced matches for the Showdown and the Sun Night 1, I believe, next week. So see what we get, I imagine. But they're at least extenuating some feuds on the show, even if a couple of them we're not really that interested in, like the main event at 10th anniversary. Heaven forbid the main event at 10th anniversary, so the main draw be Davey versus Eddie, involving that again, which we didn't want to see after Final Battle. Make Kevin Steen and Jacobs the main event, please. Please do it, ROH. You made that mistake at Final Battle. Please don't make the same mistake again. Well, we know they're going to because we've seen the poster. So I guess. What did you say? Do you want to grade it, or
No.
I just want to say it was a. I mean, I thought this was pretty good. I mean, I was more entertained by this than any of the WWE shows this week, personally. Just want to put that out there. Just saying, I was really bored by WWE, but I wasn't too bored by this.
Okay.
Any response to that, MJ?
That's it. I just weren't really thrilled with the show.
Fair enough. All right then, get your comments down in the comments. You yawn. That was very disrespectful, MJ. Comment your thoughts down below, of course. I've been Mr. Parkin with my hat on because you guys in ROH don't deserve the Washington Wizards jersey of Michael Jordan. MJ, take away this video and give us a good main event of this show.
What's up? Now, people, all I'm going to say is, hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's been it from Mr. Parkin and me and Jay, our big really fast, just to let you know this. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.